Once again, we continue to follow the breaking news coming out of Pontiac, Michigan. There has been a verdict in the trial of James Crumbley. The jury finding James Crumbley guilty on all 4 charges in Oxford, Michigan. He, of course, is the father of the teenager who shot and killed 4 students and wounded 6 others, and a teacher at Oxford High School in November of 2021. James Crumbley faces up to 15 years in prison. His wife, Jennifer, was convicted last month. Joining us now is Lou Shapiro, criminal defense attorney. Lou, first of all, what does this verdict mean?
Well, this is another step in the government trying to show the public that parents will be held accountable for their children's actions. It's no longer just the person that's holding that gun anymore. It's the parents as well that didn't do enough, perhaps, to make sure that that child did not know what to do with that gun, how to handle it, and safety features and options that go along with it.
Lou, I'll give you the standard warning because we are watching the events unfolding right now in Pontiac. You are expecting the lawyers to come out and address the cameras in just a moment. Should that happen, I will politely cut you off. But should this send a chill down the spine of every parent who has a child and that parent owns guns?
Absolutely. We've seen it over several years, probably last 10, 20 years. Sandy Hook Elementary School case we know about very well. And the legislator is not acting on gun control laws like a lot of people are demanding. So in light of that, prosecutors are saying we're going to take upon that role and prosecute the parents for doing things maybe they could have done a little bit more. If the school's calling you as parents about something that your child is doing, disturbing pictures that they're drawing, that parents now have a duty to look more into that, to maybe bring their kid to a therapist or a psychologist and understand what's going on here, what's behind these drawings or these thought processes. And is this the kind of child that should have a firearm or be owning or possessing? Parents will be held to that standard now. It's no longer, you can say, yeah, I just bought him a gun and that's all I did. That's not going to fly anymore. That's the message that's being sent.
Lou, what does this mean based on the fact that it took place in Michigan? It is a state that has a high rate of gun ownership. Hunting is very popular in Michigan. What does it say about the fact that it was a jury in Michigan that delivered this verdict? And what does this now say about the possibility that gun manufacturers can be sued as well, putting pressure on them as opposed to the parents?
Well, the fact that this happened in Michigan, which is a very gun-friendly area, obviously sends a message and puts everyone else on alert throughout the country in places that are much more, anti-guns, anti-weapons, that you will be prosecuted too as parents if your kids are taking guns to school and killing people. That's just the way it's going to go. And that's why we have involuntary manslaughter convictions here. Remember, that is defined as negligence resulting in the homicide of somebody. And if a parent doesn't know what their kid is doing with the gun, then that's negligence. And if somebody gets killed, that's homicide that could have been prevented if that parent wasn't negligent. That's the theory that's being run with. And that will continue to spread, I think, we're going to see throughout the states here. Now, in terms of will gun manufacturers be sued, that's another level. I know the NRA, as we all know, has a very good stronghold. And I think they lobby very well on that. So I don't think we're going to see that so soon. But more parents being prosecuted, that is more of a likely possibility going forward.
Lou, one thing we found out is that there were red flags, in fact, red flares that were going off inside the school with regards to the threat posed by this young man that opened fire inside the high school at Oxford, Michigan. Do you see civil suits coming out of this, not only against the parents, but also against the school system itself?
Absolutely. It's inevitable. The school systems have what they call in the law deep pockets, insurance policies that will probably settle a case out like this. At the same time, the school may say, look, we did our part. We did our duty. We did notify the parents, and the parents didn't do what they were supposed to do once they knew that their child was drawing these disturbing pictures and it was showing those signs of concern. So that might be enough for a civil jury, if it goes to that way, to say, you know what? School did its job. It's the parents that failed. That's why the parents are the ones that got criminally convicted, and the school should not be held even to a civil liability standard based on that.
Lou, what is the fine line that parents walk between the argument of James Crumbley, I didn't know, and neglect in a case like this?
It is a fine line because parents are not expected to know everything and anything that their children are up to doing. But I think if there are some signs, whether it's a school telling you, hey, we're seeing disturbing pictures being drawn here, or messages being posted on social media about violence, about killing, and things of that nature, that puts parents on alert. And parents will be expected to do more than just turn a blind eye and say, oh, it's just a picture, or he was just horsing around. That's not going to fly anymore. That's what this verdict stands for.
Lou, final question before I let you go, because I know we're holding you up in a Starbucks, and we thank you for coming in because it was short notice, to say the very least. But that being said, is this case the exception, or do you think it will soon become the rule?
I think it will soon become the rule. That's because as long as the legislator is not going to be taking up, laws like this in terms of more gun control and taking guns out of the hands that shouldn't be having it and addressing mental health issues that overlap, prosecutors are going to feel a moral and legal responsibility to act on it like they did in the Crumbley case.
Lou, thanks for joining us on such a short notice. Lou Shapiro.